Are you feeling financially free? Are you feeling comfortable with your financial situation in your 60s? I want to talk to you today about financial freedom, about how we can achieve that as we reach 55, 60, how to declare our financial freedom and talk about what that means and how it impacts our whole life, our whole being. My name is Margaret Manning. I'm with 60 and Me, and I welcome you here. This is a conversation about money that isn't the sexiest. It's not about fashion or beauty or relationships or a lot of stuff we talk about, but it is so important. It is the enabler. It is the enabler to everything else that we're doing. I know a lot of you, like me, had a really big struggle with the crash in 2008. That's over 10 years ago, and it's still impacting our lives because a lot of us lost a lot. It's not something that we have to be over concerned about, but we have to be realistic about our financial situation, because freedom isn't necessarily having lots of money. It's about just being at peace and living within our means, and just feeling like we have got our finances in the place that it needs to be for us. Now, money is the people that say that money doesn't bring happiness, aren't shopping at the right shops. I mean, that's what a lot of people say. Yes, money is an enabler, and it's really about creativity. It's a way to use your creativity to do the things that you want, to share, to manifest your there's that world of infinite possibilities that you, as a human being, we still want to manifest all the time. Something about humans, as long as we have hope that we can find a better way forward, we just can give it all the energy in the world. It's just something built into our DNA, into our being. And I guess the question here is, as Daniel Howard, or one of our bloggers, talks about, is how to define that financial freedom. And it isn't, as I said, about having a ton of money. It's about having money that frees us, and most of all, according to her, freeing us from those comments that more is better. Having more stuff equals happier. And it's just, we know this isn't the case. A lot of women in their 60s, 70s are downsizing dramatically. They're actually getting rid of a lot of their possessions, because I think that wisdom about more is not always happy, it begins to kind of sink in. We just realize that there are other priorities in our life that are much more important, and people, relationships, family, especially family, that we just need to be, more, focused on that rather than on the stuff that money can buy. So this first component that she talks about of financial freedom is this: I don't have enough. So what is enough? When we give our time and our talent and our love and compassion to other people, that's enough. That's what we do. Yeah, it's not, and the thing is, it's so interesting, is it's not the same context as when we were working, where we got our performance reviews and people said, yes, Margaret, you're doing really well in this area and that area. We're going to give you a bonus or a raise, and you're not doing so well in these areas. So here's some suggestions. There's no one doing that anymore. That's us. We're doing it to ourselves. So if we are constantly judging ourselves by the things that we, the money that we have, or the things that we can buy, or the travel that we can do, we are just never going to be happy. We're just going to be constantly chasing a dream. So we should obviously, and this is a really good point. I love Danielle's article. She always writes about this in such a human way that, we've got to save money for our own future. We should always have some money, if we can, in savings. But I'm telling you, I don't have a lot, and you probably don't either. But I have a mindset about it now, which is healthier for me. But that's the whole challenge. And she says, yes, you've got to get yourself in order, but always have some energy, financial and physical, to help when things are tough. And I would say that right now in our history of the world, things are a little tough. I mean, I always, when I walk down the street and I see people that are alone, like me, I'm walking alone, I think there's something in that person that's struggling. I know that because I have struggles, and because I know that there's a struggle, I just have this enormous compassion. I want to help. And Danielle says this, that your help is much more valuable than giving people money. Help me, not just like physical help, but support. So she says that the purchased, the ego doesn't need to be fed all the time, that you can create a purposeful spending plan. So, for example, I don't have a lot of savings, but the other week, someone that I knew had all of their camera equipment stolen and all their backpack. And it was someone that I met on the Nomad cruise, young guy, really nice person, but he was just he had saved for years for this camera gear. He was a really good photographer, and he had lost it all. So I decided I was going to give him £20 on the GoFundMe page. Now that meant I couldn't do something for myself that week because I'm budgeting like you are. But I decided that was worth it. That I wanted to give him some help. And his response, not just to me, but to everybody, was just heartwarming. So hold yourself accountable, for being able to make a contribution and doing it in ways that don't necessarily involve handing over cash. One thing that Danielle talks about, which I think is, well, I don't think anybody is easy with this one. I certainly am not. But that's, I don't have a house anymore. I don't own a property. But, your home savings are your savings. The value of your house or the money that you've been saving in your savings account, it's not an ATM. And she talks specifically about houses. And it's so easy to keep borrowing against the mortgage of your property. I had lunch with someone the other day and she said, well, I own a house in wherever. And I said, do you own it? Well, she said, no, she laughed. She said, oh, well, no, the bank owns it. But it was like, we say I own a house as if we own it. And we don't. But we keep borrowing against it. And that's how everybody got into trouble in 2008. But we don't seem to have learned, some people. And I'm not being critical because I'm hands up here. So your home savings is not an ATM. And she says also, just use some discipline, but recognize that right now, I haven't got my phone here, I'm using my phone, but it's got all kinds of apps that you can use to help you. She talks about some in the article, but some ways that you can, just watch your expenditure, see in a pie shape where the money is going, and use those online apps and online tools to actually maximize your expenditure and watch your debt and make the necessary adjustments. I think that's so important. She says that one final thing is to communicate with people that are involved in this. It's so hard as an older adult to share your financial issues with your children, especially if they're doing okay. Because the first interpretation is going to be that you need help, and children want you to be happy. They want you to be self-sufficient and they're independent. They are doing their own thing. They've got lots of complexity in their lives too, but they always want to help. And you feel like I don't want to bother them with that. I don't want to really share. But she says it's super important that you do. You've got to just do it in a time when you're feeling strong. Don't do it in a way where you're going to break into tears and you're going to be emotional. Try anyway, and just try to share what you're dealing with and how you're going to deal with it and your plan, and get your support from them. And if you don't, it's not your family, you've got friends, but the same thing, do it in a way that is constructive. And then you'll find that, some of the things that you might have to sacrifice, the discipline you might have to get into place, they might give you a lens on that really, really helps. And I know my son has been super helpful to me in this respect, because he's got a really positive attitude about money and about finances, and he and his wife did it by working it together, having common values, common goals, and making it work. So if you've got someone that's doing a good job of it, just get their advice. So that's about financial freedom. It's not got to do with having freedom by having lots of money. It's by having freedom in the relationship that you have with money. I've said this before. This isn't new news, right? I'm just saying that maybe this conversation will spark a little, idea in you where you'll be able to make a difference. Spend a little less. Work it out from the soul rather than from the ego. What do you really need to buy? What could you cut out? And I know a lot of people are absolutely on, a flatline minimum budget, and I don't minimize the challenges that brings. But hey, let's just try to bring the conversation to the level where we can do something about it. Where we can actually, if we don't have enough money to travel, we can just travel vicariously. There's so much online. If we've all got internet, that's a gift, to just live in the world as best we can. So tell me how often you worry about your financial stability? Have you got things under control? Have you got what you would call financial freedom? I would love to know how many people feel they are financially free. I'd be surprised if there's a lot. There might be, and I hope there are. But let's have a conversation about financial freedom. Take very good care, everybody. Hope that you're doing well. Just do your very best and know that I'll be back soon and we'll talk about more exciting, wonderful things. Check out our website, 60andme.com, our new shop, 60andmeshop.com, and also our YouTube channel. We've got thousands of videos there, so much to share. And just again, from my heart, thank you for being here. Take care. Bye-bye for now.